Hey everybody, it's TJ again with Talent Tree Games, coming at you with another devlog here. This one is all primarily focused on the road to Steam. It's been kind of like a big push where I'm pulling together all the things I've learned from a few different sources over the last few months about what it takes as an indie to get their game on Steam, get it noticed on Steam, what's the real long-term plan there. It's really about looking and watching a lot of creators, including some who are very specifically about like marketing of indies on Steam. Like the big name out there right now is Zukowski, who has a lot of good points and tips. And from looking at those things, I knew that I needed to do some work that I was planning on doing later, but need to do it sooner so that I can get a Steam page up there and running and let people look at it and wish list and do all that kind of fun stuff. So as far as the road to Steam goes, there were just a couple things that I wanted to briefly mention here. A couple things that I felt like you should probably do before you even start is, if you're going to be a business entity, go ahead and set that up. And as part of setting up a business entity, you're probably also going to have to set up a business bank account. So I would set that up as well. That way you have that out of the way. All the time that you might have to spend waiting on approvals for that stuff will have passed, and then you can get down to the business of getting into Steamworks, because you're going to need those things anyway. You're probably going to want the business account. You need some place for Steam to send those pennies, you know. I hope I make more than a couple pennies, but we'll see how that works out. At least I have the bank account now where they can put it. The other stumbling point, or the one stumbling point I should say, was through the last step of the setup process, was doing what they call the tax interview. And that's so that they can generate some tax forms on the back end and get you set up in whatever country you're in. So in my case, it generates a W-9 form that goes to the IRS. And my first time through that, I ended up with an auto-generated form that had my business name at the top of the form, and I sent that off, and it got rejected. So after doing a little bit of research, I found at least one other person who came across this. I feel like more people probably come across this than just me, because I can't be that unique of a situation. Because essentially I'm a single member LLC, which is one of the settings they'll ask you about in there, because I don't have any partners or anything like that right now. So I'm really just an LLC that's being a business front for myself. And in doing that, there's a particular way they want you to have that form filled out. So what they want is, back in the earliest part of the process, is they want your name to be in as the top level line item when they go to ask for your name and address and all that stuff. There's going to be a second line for what's called a DBA, otherwise known as a doing business as. That's where you put your business name. And so what that means is that 4 pages down the line, when it generates the W-9 form, the W-9 form will come out correct and have your name and then your business name on the second line. The second part of all that is that there's a little bit of confusion perhaps that you'll come across when it comes to whether or not you put your social security number or your EIN. Your EIN, you'll learn about when you go to set up your business. It's essentially like a social security number for your business. And of course, going through this process leaves it a little bit unclear as to which one you're supposed to use. Well, as a single member LLC, turns out you're supposed to use your social security. Because it needs to be the number that matches whatever that first line is in that W-9 that I just told you, where your name should show up there, because that's who they're, paying the money to, even though you have a business set up as part of that. So if you do all that stuff, you should come out the other side and have name, business, your personal social security number, and you're good to go. I did that, and I resubmitted, and the tax status got approved right away. So now that I'm a Steamworks partner, the next step is to get the Steam page going for my first product. And as part of that, there's like this whole checklist that they'll actually give you. It's a nice checklist on the side here, and they'll outline all the things you need in place before you can take your page live. Even for a coming soon page, you need a bare minimum of things before they will approve you to turn it on and let people kind of wishlist you. So I'll put up the list of things that are there. Most of them are pretty straightforward, but the main ones that I just wanted to go over real quick is the parts that I've been working on over the last month or two, and that's the media needs. That includes a trailer and 5 screenshots of your game and capsule art. So with the trailer is going to take a little while because there's still parts of the game that are coming together and they're not quite the best thing to videotape yet, but that's coming. So that one will be probably the longest task to do, but the other 2 were the ones that I started attacking over the last month or two. For the 5 screenshots, I'm finding it useful to listen to people like previously mentioned Chris Zukowski, who will tell you that you should have 3 or more biomes outlined in your screenshots. That means like three or more settings in your game. And from game to game, that might be different. It might be if you're a UI heavy game, maybe you're showing off, a few different screens that have, UI gameplay in them. But in my case, it's a little bit more traditional. It's, we're dealing with environments and actual levels. So that's where I spent a lot of my time. I went through and looked at my one set of really nice looking art so far and said, okay, well, now I need to make at least 2 more others. And so that's what I did. I made at least 3 others that are far enough along that I was like, yeah, I can take a screenshot of this and have a pretty good understanding of, like, this is unique within the game and should show off pretty well in screenshot form. So that's what I did. The other key to these screenshots is to also show off your HUD or your UX as well. They say that game customers do look at these screenshots and they see the UI for it and they immediately get a sense of whether or not they're looking at the right product for them or not. So make sure to key on that. Don't just throw up screenshots of blank stuff or blank UX. So I've got that. There's probably still some more UX that I'm going to be adding later, but I've got enough now to let people know, like, yeah, we've got characters on screen and health bars that are going to go up and down. So good to go. The third part is the capsule art. And the capsule art can really just be thought of as your game's box art or your title art or your logo. So Steam requires a few different sizes and formats and orientations of your art or your game, because they have a few different places where they actually display that depending on where in the Steam interface that players are. So I had some pretty early stuff already done, but it's obviously nothing final. So I did spend some time. I'm actually looking at my logo, juicing that up, and about to make some really good, hopefully good looking capsule art here so that I can plug that in and fulfill those requirements as well. So hopefully I'll be showing that stuff off at some point in the near future as well. So I'm sure you've seen by now that I'm stuck down here in this little circle while some cooler stuff has been happening on the rest of the screen. I thought it might be more interesting to show you guys a behind the scenes look at some stuff in development. So I took some B-roll of me working on a spawning animation for the skeleton enemy. So I was thinking I'll probably start doing that for more stuff, be it pixel art or maybe the level editing or some of the coding. Hopefully that you guys will find that interesting. I might turn that into kind of its own little sub-series of like a watch me work kind of videos where maybe I'll show some of that stuff off, maybe talk a little over it, let you know kind of what I'm thinking as I'm going through that stuff. But I'm sure you guys will check it out in the future and let me know how it goes. So I'm going to leave things here for now. I'm glad you've listened this long. I hope you're still getting something out of it, but enough talk for now. Got a lot of work in front of me, and I got to get right back to it. I'll see you in the next one.